You are listening to the Air Hug Community Podcast. Hey, welcome everybody. If you are new here, this is, and if you're not new here, welcome back. But if you're new here, I just want to give you the 411 on this podcast. This is the Air Hug Community Podcast, and you can also think of it as a midlife mojo discussion board. So in this podcast, we come together to talk about midlife. We talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, all the emotions. We talk about approaches for living better. We talk about all sorts of things. We bring in guests. And this is just something that was created as a need out of my business from Grateful Fitness of working with women. I wanted to have a place where we could come to talk about things further. And so this is the place. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Let's get after it. Fab abs, Nicole Kidman, but this frantic effort to look half your age is frankly demeaning. And the author of this quote is Yvonne Roberts. Well, have I got an episode for you today, folks. This really got under my skin, and this is an article that was written in The Guardian, and that is the cover of it. And apparently this author, has got a lot of sour grapes that she airs out in this article. And I brought on a guest that I'm so excited for you to hear our discussion, because we are going to pick this article apart and talk about all sorts of things that are just crazy about it. I know, crazy is a strong word, right? But just be patient and listen here. I'm going to play a couple of sound clips from our conversation before we actually started this discussion. And I want you to hear that before I introduce our guest. And then we're just going to get into it. And I think that'll give you somewhat of an idea of where we're coming from today. LOL, did I just say sound bites? Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. Anyways, they're just sound clips. But I don't know, I thought that sounded pretty cool. So it flew out of my mouth. There's so much speculation in this article. Speculating on how many workouts a week, speculating on arthritis. And then she talks about the opposite of sister solidarity. Can I just tell you, as we get into this, I think you're going to see that she's actually practicing the opposite of sister solidarity with her judgments and her assumptions. And I just want to put it out there that I do recognize this article is the opinion of the author, but it just struck me so strongly, and I have such a different opinion that I wanted to put it out there for everyone to hear different angles of the same topic. The continual parade of testimonies by others intent on publishing their efforts to allegedly age-prove their lives is a kind of competitive women up-one-ship. Says who? A competitive women up-one-ship? I think this person is just giving up, and this is her way of saying she's not going to play the game and doesn't want to actually age fiercely.
Suffering. This down here, this line says, once I realized I was old enough to die, I decided I was old enough not to incur any more suffering, annoyance, or boredom in the pursuit of a longer life.
Okay, that's enough of teasing. I'm going to introduce our guest, and we're going to get right into this. 3, 2, 1. And all right, I know I always say I'm so excited, but I am really excited because Candace has been a friend of mine for, oh my gosh, probably since 2017 or 18. We did a mastermind together, and we were actually, we were buddies. We were assigned buddies in this mastermind where we would talk to someone who was in doing this course with us every month. And so we've had a lot of conversations over the years. And Candace is awesome. You guys, she is a strength coach. She is no nonsense. I love to call her the carb queen, because if you follow her on Instagram at Beauty of Strength, don't worry, I'll put it in the show notes. Um, I love it because she's all about eating to stay strong and eating enough so that you can actually fuel your workouts and not worry about starving and restricting so much all of the time. And it's so refreshing. So Candace, welcome.
Thank you for having me. So happy to be here with you.
It is. I'm super excited. Like I said, it's my pleasure. And Candace and I are going to talk. We're going to give a little, maybe almost a rant today about an article that we both came across. And I texted Candace right away and I'm like, can you believe this? We need to get on and talk about this in a podcast. So the article was in theguardian.com. You guys are welcome to look it up. And
Yeah,
it's
pull it
all
up.
about Nicole Kidman. And the author, I'm going back to the top. The author is Yvonne Roberts. Just want to call her out. She's the person who wrote that. Here's the title: Fab Abs, Nicole Kidman. But this frantic effort to look half your age is frankly demeaning.
Mm,
So,
wow,
Candace,
right?
I'm gonna right there. I'm gonna let you start. What do you think about that?
I'm like, it's nonsense. It really is. Like, frantic effort to look half your age is frankly demeaning. How? Where do you gather that it's frantic, first of all? And it's effort to keep yourself up as we age, but there is nothing wrong with that. It's a choice a individual person makes to keep their health up, right? And
Right.
it's demeaning. I need her to explain to me, how is it demeaning? It's not, it's a good thing that to take care of yourself. Your quality of life is better when you are keeping yourself healthy, keeping yourself fit, keeping yourself where you can move without pain. And I'm probably going a little bit more deeper. Is those types of things that it seems like she talks about in this article is like age, like down towards the end, the whole suffering. Like, I don't want to incur more suffering. When has fitness and health been equated to suffering?
Exactly. Where has fitness and health been equated to suffering? So it sounds to me, number one, like this Yvonne Roberts, number one, expects to suffer in old age, which
Yep.
I right away would say, look, that's a choice you're making if you want to suffer in
Yes.
old age. It also
Yes.
sounds to me like, and this is the way I interpret it, that she feels like the actions that you have to take in order to get fit are suffering.
Suffering.
And
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever believe that a workout should scare you so much that you feel like you're suffering.
Suffering.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. There's a difference between challenging and suffering, right? You
Suffering.
always want to go a little bit out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
But okay, it's not like we're walking on a tightrope 25
I know.
stories up.
Exactly.
Yeah. The other thing I think one of the things I think this comes up a lot is people who are not used to working out, maybe for a number of reasons. Maybe they get in with a trainer who's like giving them too much all at once, or maybe they love to play the part of being a martyr. And it's like, oh my God, I had to go to the torture chamber. I'm like, come on, people, get over it.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
a torture chamber.
Right. Yes. I agree.
So there's the suffering part. Then she gets into the part about, well, it's okay to look not so feminine. First of all, she called the look of having healthy muscles and with a lean body so that the muscles actually show. So you've got strong muscles with a lean body, so you don't have a lot of fat over them. She called that being not feminine. And the funny thing is, she thought it would be okay if you were a professional athlete, but not if you were anybody else.
Right.
Like, and she called out Serena Williams and Simone Biles. And there was one more, I can't remember. And I thought, well, first of all, I think they are feminine.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly.
And why do you think it's okay for professionals and not for other people?
Yeah, that's an interesting thought concept. It's another one I would like to talk to you about. Like, how is that? How are they different? Yeah, it's their sport, so they are obviously probably more fit, probably more intentionally because they have to be. But us general pop people can be intentional too, and it's okay to have muscle on your frame. It's okay for them to have muscle on their frame.
Mm-hmm.
I know it comes down to opinion and what people perceive and how they feel about things, but we're all entitled to how we want to look and feel at the end of the day.
Exactly. Exactly. And this is why I wanted to come in and talk on this, because I don't think anyone should pigeonhole us into looking a certain way because we are a
Right.
certain age. And by the way, Candace and I are not young. Candace is younger than me, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm 61 and I have
Yeah.
no intentions of slowing down or lifting light because it's time to put an end to suffering. I feel like I would suffer more if I were to get out of shape.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely, because moving our bodies in general and lifting weights helps our bodies stay young in a way, help us stay more mobile, help us stay as you age. Back to the lady at the end, whoever she quoted at the end about getting old and I don't want to suffer. Again, bringing that back to workouts, you do. I guess I'm kind of losing my trajectory where I'm going, um, where I'm going with that. But what I'm trying to say is that the quality of life. I come bringing it back to quality of life at whatever age these folks are saying you shouldn't be working out or you should just walk or whatever, because they pointed that out in the article about walking is okay, but lifting weights is not. But lifting weights is a thing that's going to give you the best quality of life overall because your bones, your skeletal um, muscle, not losing it on your frame allows you to live at 60, 70 years old without help or assistance. So, yeah,
Bravo. Yeah.
yeah,
Strength is really the gateway to maintaining independence.
yes, yep,
Don't you think?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yep. And that's something they should have honed in on this article versus tearing down women that have muscle or look like fit, muscular, instead of pointing out that you shouldn't want to be, or we're trying to defy life, trying to live longer. Really, we can't control when we leave this earth, but we can control our quality of life while we're here.
Right.
And so that's where I stand.
Yeah. And I love it, while we're at it, I want to touch on you being the carb queen
Mm-hmm.
because you bring up such a good point in your social media. Folks, follow Candace on Instagram at The Beauty of Strength, right?
Yep.
I,
Yep.
I will
Beauty
put it in the
strength.
show notes, like I said.
Yep.
But Candace's messages are so positive. And one of my favorite message that you talk about is the fact that carbs are not the demon, that you need carbs to fuel a workout. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every nutrition thing or under the sun, diet guru, uh, some fitness professionals, I won't say all because we are, but there really is still a push to this day to eliminate carbohydrates. Now, when I talk about eating carbs, I'm not saying go eat all the processed junk carbs. We know that those have a limit. But fruits, if you do well with whole grains, those things are great. Beans, those things are going to fuel your workout. It's going to help you push. It's going to help you recover. So when you're eliminating a whole food group, one, it's not sustainable. Two, I should say, you're taking away from your quality of your exercise too. Yeah, sure, you could get away with it to a certain point, but a lot of women also say they want to build muscle. Muscle helps with the building process. Carbs help with the building process of building muscle. So it's very rare that I've seen somebody tell me that they can just build muscle off meat and vegetables, like green vegetables. There's not a lot of energy. Yes, greens are very filling, but they're not going to give you that oomph that you need to like squat, do push-ups, do pull-ups, lunge, hip thrusts, all the things that they requires energy. And it is our body's number one preferred fuel source. So
Right.
That's where I stand on carbs. No, we
I
shouldn't be eating a bunch of the junk ones. You can have them here and there every now and then, but your brain and your diet can still have complex carbohydrates in there.
Yeah. I think we've gone down such a road, or the media has gone down such a
Mm-hmm.
road in fad diets of there always has to be abstinence of something. And it's such a
Yes.
hard line in the sand. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of, and both you and I have come from a history of, so Candace and I have both gotten on stage.
Yep.
We've both been
Yeah.
competitive bodybuilders. And
Mm-hmm.
that is for the 1 day body, but for the
Oh,
rest of our life, yes, we've had to draw that line in the sand for the 1 day show. But for the rest of life, to maintain a healthy life and maintain strength, and actually, being strong actually helps you. And I hate to sell it this way, but sometimes I feel like I have to sell it this way so women will listen. Strong muscles actually help you burn more calories at rest. And women
yes.
love to burn more calories at rest. So often
Yes.
that's a selling point. And I guess, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad thing, but the abstinence of I can't eat any carbs and the attitude of the can't,
Mm-hmm.
has got to go away. Sure, I guess if you didn't want to, if there were things, number one, if you have a big allergy, great.
Yeah.
If all your carbs are processed down to the fact that they have like no fiber in them and they're just simple sugars, or like if
Right.
they're all white bread or white flour,
Yeah.
that's another
Yeah.
story, I think, which is the point you made.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then you cutting out whole food groups. Your body need nutrients. There's good nutrients and fiber and stuff in various carbohydrates, even the starchy ones, Well, like fruit, like you really not going to eat fruit for the rest of your life or only eat berries, because that's another thing. If you're going to eat fruit, you can only have berries. Like, really? Like, no one is gaining weight off of fruit, period.
Right? Okay, I had someone say to me they were swearing off of apples and they would only eat pears. And are you ready for this? Because pears
Why?
have 1 more gram of fiber per serving, one. And I thought, see, this is where we are getting caught up on the little things versus the big things. Be consistent, go to the gym. But I want to get back to this article.
Okay.
It's Candace and I, we know we could go on forever
Forever
about
about
these
carbs.
things. But the
Yeah.
thing that bothered me the most is the author completely missed the point, which the author was completely on the aesthetics of getting to the gym versus the health
Yeah.
reasons.
Health. Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk to you
Absolutely.
about that,
Yeah. And I said that off the beginning before I think I said the quality of life. Of
Mhm.
course, we gonna look good. Most women want. That's why women get into lifting weights. But a lot of women don't also focus on why. The inside of us, the bones, our tendons, our joints, how we move throughout the day. Your brain, yes, brain health. It is amazing benefits. The words that keep coming back to me, I think I'm gonna say that probably 3 times, 4 times now, 5 times. Quality of life from resistance training.
It's
It is
amazing, right?
maintaining our muscle as we age. That's huge because the muscle is going to help all the things we have said multiple times now. Being able to be independent in your upper years in life. It's not about just looking good. Oh, that's all great and dandy, but what about osteoporosis, sarcopenia, you name it?
Let's bring
There's
up
a huge
arthritis.
arthritis. Great, yeah, absolutely. And it what can lifting weights, strength training helps a lot of the age related diseases or disease or um age related stuff that comes up as we get in our 40s and 50s and 60s. Strength training almost mitigates that. So
Yeah, 100%. So in the article, they brought up Madonna, who they talk about at 64, who was talking about how she has totally embraced strength training. And she admits in the
yeah,
article, this is a quote, that having, some injuries here and there. And I will not say that injuries are inevitable. Injuries can happen, but they can
right.
also be prevented. But then the author takes it one step further and she says, well, surely arthritis must follow. What the author fails to realize then
Yes.
is that you don't know if arthritis is the chicken or the egg. And it actually doesn't even matter because
Right.
once it shows up, you have to stay strong and mobile.
Yes. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't
Because
just sit in a chair. So
it is, yeah, it helps negate the side effects that come with arthritis, that pain that's back to the joints,
mhm.
and whatnot. So if you sit, we all know, even even if you ain't in your 40s and your 30s and your 20s and you sit all day, you get up, you feel all those aches because
Yeah,
you ain't did nothing with the body. So
exactly. I love this line and I didn't think of it, but I love to repeat it. Sitting is the new smoking.
mhm.
Exactly. So I think it's really important. I'm going to pull this article up again. And I'm not trying to like bash this woman, but I just want to point out that the whole idea of, yay, Nicole Kidman, I'm so glad you took care of yourself. I'm looking at the picture. I actually think she looks very, very lean, which
Mhm.
is whatever look she wants is great. And I'm glad that she's healthy, but I don't think it's any of our business to diss her for making choices to improve herself. And I just really, anyone can write whatever they want, but I'm here to say, women, don't buy into that. Don't sell yourself short.
Right, exactly. I agree. And there's several articles right before we got on. I just Googled her name. There's other articles with her with more positive tone about this and other celebrities. I'll have to send you the couple links that I've come across.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, being a positive thing, like they name like J Lo, other women. Where's that article at? But that lifting is a very, very good benefit for us, for anyone. And aging, as we age, is really imperative that we either build our muscle or we're maintaining it. And it's also nice to see that someone is recognizing more muscular on women. That's not a bad thing. It's not, you're not manly. It's it's just how you want to look, and muscle is very beneficial. So
Yeah.
um it's
Yeah,
good
I
to
think
see.
it is good to see. And I think
Mm-hmm.
Lo did a great thing for us. Was it? I'm trying to remember, when was she like dancing on a pole? Was it a Super Bowl halftime show when she was
I
50?
I think so. I think so.
And not only did she look good, but the fact that she could actually move her body that way
Body.
was, I was
Yeah.
like, this is such a positive example for women. Again, we get back to, it's not just how we look, but what can our body do, you
What
know?
can it do? Mm-hmm. Exactly. You ain't got to be like on the pole or something, but if you wanted to, and you 50, 60 years old, you got the strength to do it, you can do it. But you can only do that if you're using or building your muscle, maintaining your muscle, doing some kind of activity that keeps your body mobile, keeps your body moving well, keeps your
Yeah.
body strong. You can't do those things. I mean, even if you're up in the age 60s and you like to ski. Actually, once I brought that up, I came past like skiing. I ski. I just recently learned how to ski this past year, last year, going back this year. But I came across a lady that was a little older than me, and she was like, I have started strength training. We were sitting on the lift together, and she's talking about how well her trainer is having her lift weights, and she had to be 65, 66, and she's a much better skier because she weight trains.
Yeah, it's quality of life. What
Yeah.
about, now that I'm a grandmother and have 5 grandkids, like it's really important for me to, if I've got like a 30-pound kid in my hand, to be able to get up off the floor. Hello,
Hello.
or, I was just telling Candace, I don't want to be the grandmother that my kids don't know. But like when my granddaughter says, I want Juju to put me to bed, I want to be able to pick her up and carry her up the stairs, at
Yeah.
30 pounds and hoist her over the crib and be like, okay, that's no problem,
Yeah. You
that kind
can't
of
do that
thing.
if you, yeah, you can't do that if you're not healthy in body.
Right.
And
So,
as
I
we
mean,
age, oh, go ahead.
no,
I
no,
was going to
no.
say, as we age, if you weren't doing lifting weights, walking, doing other activities that support muscle, your skeleton, all those types of things, you won't be able to do that. So,
Exactly.
like the lady in the article at the end, I keep going back to that's where I highlighted the suffering part. Well, you're going to be suffering because you're immobile. You won't be able to
Yes.
do the things and care for yourself, or pick if you got grandchildren, you won't be able to lift them up into the crib because you're weak.
Yeah.
So, what's the quote out there? I think it's by Brett. You think something around lifting is dangerous, but weak is dangerous. Being weak is dangerous
Yeah.
for
And
your life.
the investment, I love to think it in terms of an investment because I ask this question every now and. Do you think that getting into a structured fitness program is an investment, or is it or not? And I'm like, it's 100% an investment in your future. And,
Yeah,
if you think it's expensive, try not doing it and then seeing how you are, and what your medical bills are like and what you're missing out on in life.
a lot. You won't be able to do a lot. The
Mhm.
things that you used to enjoy in your youth or your prime, you can't probably do when you're older because, and we see it all the time with older people, either our parents or grandparents or just older aunts and uncles. What do they do? And nothing really, and then they're very weak. um, they can't do much of the activities that they used to do
Yeah.
because they didn't continue to be active.
I think more and more we are seeing some stronger people. Um,
Yeah.
and so I'm talking to everyone out here listening, be part of the trailblazer, be the strong person who doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
limits in her life. Don't blame your problems on age because it's not inevitable. Okay, so yes, our ligaments and tendons are going to get stiffer.
Mm.
We are going to get, I already have arthritis in my hands, but fine, I can work with it,
Yeah. Yeah.
but those things are going to happen, but they don't have to be an excuse for us not to actually work on strengthening our bigger muscles.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
Unless you decide that's the choice, you just say, F it,
yeah,
I'm just going to just, this is just it. This is, I'm getting old and there's nothing
yeah.
you can do about it. But that's not true. So,
That article is something that I would have expected to be written more in, well, not even in our lifetime in the 60s or 70s, maybe because it wasn't mainstream, but going to a gym is much more mainstream, I think, than it used to be 30 years
mm-hmm.
ago, 40 years ago. I guess the 70s are 40 years ago. Wow. But I feel like the flavor of that article about women, it's way more anti-feminist. Feminist women, ladies, get out there and don't care what people think about your choice or how you want to define healthy,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And
So
muscle is beautiful. Muscle is strong. Muscle helps you live life, a better quality of life when you have it.
yeah, for sure. Candace, you got to
Mm-hmm.
flex for us. Come on.
You
Yeah,
got to
come on,
flex
let's
with
do it
me.
together. See, we are not afraid. Oh my gosh. This has been
So,
so much fun. And
for
I think,
sure, it has.
if there's a message you want to put out there, what would you say to women who are starting to feel the changes of midlife?
Well, one is part of life. So we kind of lean in and embrace it. But you can reverse some of those things that's coming up or make them less, like just circling back to lifting weights is very powerful on the body. Don't be afraid to lift. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you've never lifted weights and you're like, I see the benefits. Because I mean, every day there's more and more studies coming out about the great benefits of lifting weights and what it does for women's bodies. Is get a trainer, hire somebody, and just start. Just pick up and start where you are, and you'll get better and you'll get stronger. In a year, you'll be like so happy that you started to lift weights. And Don't worry. Oh, one more. I know it's probably long winded, but don't worry
Go.
about, we didn't talk about this, but a lot of women, no matter the age, say, I don't want to get too much muscle. Honey, don't worry about that because you already losing it. You already going to lose it quicker than you probably going to gain it. So do something about it. Don't worry about getting too big. And say you do start to feel like you too muscular. You can cut back the amount of volume, the amount of training that you do to mitigate that. So,
Yeah. I want to talk to that for a minute too, because a
okay.
lot of women will go there and they'll say, you know, well, I've done one workout. I did leg day and my legs are already bigger. And they don't realize that they've got fluid in their muscles because their
Yes.
muscles are trying to recover. And can
Yep.
you talk to that?
Yes, it's just inflammation from your muscle, the damage that happens when damage is not a bad thing, by the way. So I wanted to use a different word, but that's the word that comes up. You're
Micro
lifting,
tears. Yeah.
yeah, my little micro tears, and it's not. It will subside when your body start to recover itself. So like you might look a little bit of juicy in the quads, so to speak.
Yeah.
If you did a leg workout, you might have a pump in there. I mean, that's normal. I love the look, but
Yeah.
by the next day it's back down. And as you get
Exactly.
more conditioned and you recover properly, that is less and less. You want the muscle in your legs. There's a lot of muscle down there that supports our bodies and helps with back to that metabolism piece. So you're not going to get quote unquote bulky. I want to get bulky because I know that the muscle, but I know a lot of women are worried about that look, but you're worrying about the wrong things. So,
Exactly. I always
mhm.
like to reassure people about the bulky, and I understand that. And that's one reason, right? Is the swollen muscle. The other
Yeah,
reason is because under that or over that swollen muscle,
yes,
there's a layer of fat that
yep,
it's going to go away if you're not eating in a calorie excess. So it's very careful, and that's where like Candace and I try to help people with. You can eat to either maintain, you might want to eat a little bit to grow, and then when you're
yeah,
ready to lose that layer of fat, you don't want to go strict restrict. You want to maybe just get in a slight deficit because we'll lose that muscle.
yeah,
But anytime you're losing fat, you're losing muscle too. And that's just
yeah,
the way it is. So you have to really trust the process. And that's where it does really help to have guidance from someone who's been through it and
absolutely.
understands it.
Yep. Yep. You put it very well. When it's time to lose it, you want to be strategic and smart with your calorie deficit to lose the body fat and try to not lose any well, there's some, but you don't want to lose a lot of it. And a lot of women end up doing that.
Yeah. And don't come to your trainer slash nutritionist, 3 weeks before your high school reunion and think that you're going to go on a starvation diet and lift heavy weights. Because the changes
Absolutely.
that we're talking about are it's like it's ongoing and it's a long time. There's no
Mm-hmm.
quick fix, right, Candace?
That's right. That's absolutely no quick fixes. It's a long journey. You have to manage your expectations and strap in for the long call. Using your example, your 30 whatever 40-year reunion, you can't come out of and expect in a month to look the way you think you see in your head in a month. It's very unhealthy, unrealistic, and not sustainable. I mean, you
Yeah.
will gain that weight back in the process plus some. So it's really smart to, if you're gonna start now. Don't have put any timeline on it.
Yeah.
And look at this more as especially speaking to us being an older age, as a long term health thing first. And of course, with those things in place leading to better health, stronger body, of course you're gonna start to look physically better, aesthetically. You're gonna make aesthetic changes, and that's good. That's nothing wrong with that. But you gotta have the right mindset leading into body change, or and and the stuff that goes with that.
You have nailed it. I think, the mindset is more important. And even your mindset when you look in the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd like to go from mindset into milestones because I think milestones are not statistics in
Yeah.
a way that you're looking at, you know, um, the number on a scale or the size jeans you're wearing, or I really do not like those challenges. There's a very famous fitness couple who promotes a drop 2 jean sizes challenge. And I
Okay.
think the problem is that actually if someone has triggers like that, it can trigger people into eating disorders or disordered eating, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
which there's a difference between the two, but nevertheless, it can make people go into unhealthy practices to try to just win a
Yes.
challenge,
Yeah.
versus let's talk about how consistent your habits are. Are you setting a goal? A better statistic would be like setting a goal. If you haven't weight trained, maybe you're going to try to get to the gym 3 times a week,
Yeah.
and maybe you're going to try to walk 30 minutes 5 days a week, or the equivalent of 150 minutes a week, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Exactly. I agree. Though, yeah, those challenges, and I know we're getting a little bit off the track, but it does lend itself to what the overall picture here is that the when you try to do quick fixes, even with weight training, women like, if I do this, will I have my butt, or will my arms be this or that? It takes time. You can't really cheat your way into muscle building. But we know with fat loss and weight loss, you can't do extreme things. And when you got 2 dress sizes to drop in, however long that challenge is, you're going to do things that promote quicker fat loss, weight loss, well, but not more so fat loss, would be more a lot of weight loss, probably more or less. And those things aren't sustainable. You're
No.
not going to stay eating those low end of those calories, and then what happens at the end of that 2 dresses or 2 jean size? What happens? Who bringing you out of that diet like that?
Right.
Them?
And if you, first of all, it's not sustainable, if
No.
you're trying to do it in a very short amount of time. And what I want people to know, and Candace is going to back me up on this 100% because I know her and we've talked about
Mm-hmm.
it. The fact is, when you're losing weight fast, right, you're losing, and I've said this just a few minutes ago, fat and muscle. But when you don't come back carefully with your calorie addition and accompany it with strength training, what you're gaining is really just fat. So now
Yes.
you may go back to the same weight or even more, but your body composition is worse because you've got a
Yeah.
more fat than you had before and not as much muscle. And this is
Yeah.
what happens when people go on restrictive diets only, when they only think about weight versus thinking about body composition, which
Mm-hmm.
is, you want to have those. And I'm not saying you have to measure body composition.
Yeah.
You'll know by how you look. You'll
Yeah, how
know
you
by how
look,
your
how you
clothes fit.
feel. Yep, absolutely. 100% agree with you, lady.
You're going to look way better in your jeans if you've got some muscle on that lower half of your body. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
Right?
pretty much. Say it
And
like
you
you
might
mean
you
it.
might even not lose any weight. You
Yeah,
might, and it doesn't matter. I've had people who haven't lost any weight and kind of shifted their body composition, and they're like, but my clothes are looser. I'm like, hey girl, guess what?
yeah,
Muscle takes up less space than fat,
yeah,
and
pretty
it's shaped
much.
better.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
So this has been so much fun. And I think the bottom line is, your opinion is your opinion. And if that woman, wanted to publish that, that's great. But the point I think she missed is that this was all for aesthetics. And, aesthetics are a lovely consequence of,
Yes.
of training for health. And we're
Yep.
all about training for health. And aesthetics will fall into place, but they can't be the main goal.
No, no, she totally missed the mark on that. And it just very kind of negative tone for me to the article. I was reading it with my husband before we got on for our call today, and I was just like, this thing, we were both like every time like shaking our head. And then like I said, I highlighted the part about suffering when I get old enough, in pursuit of longer life. We can't control how long we live, but the quality we can have some say. So
Yeah. You know what? We're all about living as well as we can for however
mm-hmm.
long we're supposed to be on this earth,
Yep.
versus, you know, if you're sitting in a chair and then pretty soon all you're going to be able to do is sit in a chair.
In a chair. Yeah. Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's your choice. If you choose not to, you literally waste away when you don't do anything,
Yeah.
any activities. That's your choice. That's your choice. But if us women and other people, we want to enhance our quality of life while we're here, let us. We all have the choice to choose how we live our lives.
Yeah. All right. Candace, other than Instagram, where else can people contact you?
You can find me on mostly Instagram, really. I don't know how much people do Facebook these days. I don't use my page as much, my business page over on Facebook, but
nobody sees it. I know.
I know Instagram and then my website. You can find several resources there. Contact me through my website, and that's just my name. And Judy probably can pop that in the description, details of what have you. And that's CandaceRSmith.com.
Okay. Oh, with the R in it. Okay.
Yeah.
I will put that in. Candace, it was so good catching up with you and talking to you. And I want to thank you for giving us your time today.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.